a young person. It's just one too many. So this is the opportunity for young people to speak up. It's the smart thing to do. It's the responsible thing to do. So I want to thank everyone here for supporting this program. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. And I just want to also thank the police commissioner and all the men and women in his department, because in some ways, had we not gotten crime to the level it's at now, we might not have the ability to be, offensively doing things like this, because we would have been so stuck in a defensive position. So I want to thank you and your men and women very, very much for that. Now, it's important to stress that the schools that are participating, beyond the citywide number, we're going to work with some particular schools that may or may not have particular challenges and have reached out to us and said, hey, we would really like to have more of a PAX presence in our schools. They have volunteered for this because the principals there believe this is something that would be a great benefit to their schools. We want to try to, in the conversation about this phone number, it being citywide, but also being working in particular schools, we want to eliminate any stigma. If a principal steps forward and says, Dan, bring more PAX Speak Up to my school, that's a good thing. We don't want to pin that as a school that is a violent school you don't want to go to. That's a school with a principal and a faculty that's getting ahead of problems before they start. And we really want to thank the principals who are going to be working with us. We believe we'll have about 15 or so schools. We're still working on the final schools that'll be in that special additional outreach category. I want to thank very much the Department of Education for working with us, and call on Kathleen Grimm for a few comments. We're right back there? Okay, good. He's back up. It's like a mogul skier back there. He bounced back up. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Speaker Quinn, we are delighted to be here. And I want to thank Commissioner Kelly very much for the partnership that we have forged between the Police Department and the Department of Education. Since the year 2001, we have decreased major felony crimes 44%. And of course, he gave you other statistics that are heartening, but not enough. Not enough. I want to thank the Speaker and Mr. Gross for spearheading this, and all of the people who are here who are helping us in our schools to make sure our children feel they have a safe avenue to report any of this. And I want to thank very much Seth Litt, who is the principal of
I forgot to recognize. Thank you.
A principal who has volunteered, a principal of School 217 in the Bronx, who will be working very closely on this program. So I thank him and all the other principals who will be doing that. Thank you.
Does he want to say a few words? Or?
Seth, would you like to say a couple of words?
Sorry about that, Seth. That I
I'm used
and
to
thank you very much.
auditoriums full of middle school students.
So for you, this is a less intimidating audience.
Of course.
Okay, I have to come see yours then.
You're welcome anytime. Good morning. My name is Seth Litt. I'm the principal of IS 217, the Rafael Hernandez School of Performing Arts. We're a 6th through 8th grade school in the Hunts Point section of the Bronx. Our school building is a safe building. We have 3 public middle schools and a charter elementary school. And it's a great environment for kids to learn and have a future where they can be successful. I'm here today because I think we all think that students in the greatest city in the world deserve the greatest education in the world and the greatest opportunities in the world, and that extends the opportunity to affect their communities and their neighborhoods. I think we understand that an excellent public education can change and improve lives, not just for individual students, but for a generation of students and for their communities. At IS 217, we're lucky. In addition to having rigorous academics, we have a band, a chorus, visual arts, a full-service Montefiore clinic, after-school programs that run till 9 o'clock at night and on the weekends. And I think our next step is extending what we can do in school to students' home lives and to their communities, so that students come to school ready to learn, and that not only the school is a safe environment, but when they go home to do homework and when they go home to read a book, they also know that that's a safe environment too. And I'm very excited there's so many people standing up here today that support our students and our school.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. In the 7 years that Speak Up Hotlines has been established, they've received over 35,000 calls, resulting in the almost certain prevention of tragedies and loss of life. And to talk a little more about Speak Up campaigns is the founder of PAX, Daniel Gross. And as I said before, Daniel, I just want to thank you so much for your work, but also for reminding all of us that the best response to violence is to try to gather people together to create a more peaceful society. So thank you.
Thank you, Speaker Quinn. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's a pleasure to be here today to announce the launch of Speak Up in New York City. My name is Dan Gross, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of PAX, the nation's largest non-political gun violence prevention organization. Like too many people, I was introduced to the tragedy of gun violence through personal experience. My younger brother, Matt Gross, was shot and critically injured in the shooting on the observation deck of the Empire State Building in February of 1997. At the time, I was a partner at a big advertising agency here in New York City, and I resigned that job to start PAX. PAX is created around the belief that together we can end youth gun violence in our nation. But to do it, we can't just focus on changing our laws. We also need to change the specific attitudes and behaviors that lead to most youth gun violence. We need to change our social norms. Every day in America, 8 children and teens die from guns. That's 3,000 kids every year. Yet most of these youth gun deaths can be prevented. And PAX shows everyone that the solutions lie more within our reach than most of us realize. And that's the simple goal of everything PAX does, to promote the surprisingly easy things we all can do to prevent gun deaths and injuries. And one of those surprisingly easy things, something every young person can do to prevent gun violence, is to speak up. A joint study by the U.S. Secret Service and the Department of Education originally showed that in 81% of school shootings, there are bystanders, as they called them, who knew beforehand about the attacker's plans. And it's widely accepted in law enforcement, as you heard Commissioner Kelly say, that this phenomenon holds true not only for school shootings, but youth violence in general, including gang violence. Kids don't just know who has committed crimes after they occur. They actually know who is going to commit violent crimes before they occur. And this points to a tremendous opportunity to prevent youth and gang violence by providing the inspiration and mechanisms for young people to come forward with information about weapons and threats. And that's precisely the opportunity the Speak Up campaign addresses with astonishing effectiveness. PAX has spent several years and millions of dollars developing messages and resources to make it easy, safe, and compelling for young people to speak up about weapon threats. The Speak Up campaign includes the groundbreaking 1-866 Speak Up hotline for students to safely and anonymously report weapon threats, a newly launched text messaging companion platform, a national reporting center staffed 24/7, 365 by professional, highly trained counselors, 70% of them have master's degrees, who handle incoming threat reports according to a protocol developed with the FBI, the DOE, and other experts. And very importantly, a social marketing campaign with customizable public service announcements, school posters, wallet cards, and much more, all to create awareness of the hotline and to help make the idea of speaking up to stop violence the new social norm. And I'm proud to be able to say that Speak Up works. In 8 years, our hotline has received more than 35,000 calls from students across the country, with hundreds of instances, as you heard the speaker say, where weapons were confiscated or serious threats were averted. And in every case where we've worked in partnerships with cities or states to create a program like the one we're launching here today in New York City, we've been able to inspire dramatic increases in reported threats from those communities. Speak Up saves lives. But as we all know, there are some powerful cultural forces working against us. And one of the ugliest examples is the insidious stop snitching message. But what Speak Up has shown in communities across the country, as it will here in New York City, is that there is hope. That the overwhelming majority of kids out there are good kids, that they are tired of living with the threat of violence in their schools and on their streets, and that they are willing to do something about it. Speak Up is a powerful testimony to the fact that given the opportunity to do the right thing, young people will. And that is the opportunity that all the supporters of this program today are helping to bring to New York City students. And for that, we'd like to thank Speaker Quinn and the New York City Council, including all the council members that are here giving their support. We also want to thank, of course, Commissioner Kelly and the NYPD, Chancellor Klein, Deputy Chancellor Grimm, and the DOE for all of your vitally important participation and support. And Principal Litt, Jackie Rowe Adams, and everyone else from Harlem Mother Save, Million Mom March, all for being here to show